That's not a command. Throw it back to them. If they type in exactly 2 words, then we know that a target's available, and we go ahead and grab that target. Oh, time zones. No problem, Rob. Glad you're enjoying it, and I'm still working on getting the videos from last week onto YouTube, but in the time being, they're on Twitch, and I'll see you next week with the chain of responsibility pattern. Okay, so here we are. We've done some more hardening of our business logic. It might not be initialized. Let's go ahead and make that null. Alright, so we build. Let's see how far that gets us. Oh, sorry, one more thing. Do we actually have something that handles look around? Well, we do. Go to our server, debug that guy, go to our client, and debug that guy. A user yesterday had a great suggestion to debug both at once. I don't typically do it, but I'm trying it because I don't typically do it, and seeing exactly what the caveats are. So far, so good on a few things. Okay. Attorney says that the game actions is also potentially uninitialized. It's not, and it shouldn't be, I should say. But let's step through it, and maybe I'm thinking about something else. Oops, sorry. There we go. So we do notice a bug where Gary, when we log in, we're getting health 0, stamina 0. So we found Gary, but something weird is happening. And player is still null. Not good. So we're definitely still hitting this. Let's look back at our error. Oops. Player still null. Let's go ahead and stop this guy. Let's go ahead and just debug and see if what we fixed actually did what it was supposed to. So we'll come here. We come back over to our hive mind to see why Gary is null. Okay. So we get the player. Gotcha. So we get the player here. What do we do down here? And then we set it as the sender here. So that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Because when we come in that first time, all we're doing is passing in the name Gary. We weren't actually passing in the player. So by setting it back to the sender on the way out, we're actually just invalidating the work we did. We're still sending back the room contents, but we're just returning right back the same values we got in. So that's a neat little bug. Okay, so I'm also calling var player. So up here, we're going to say var player is equal to null. And by that, we want to say iPlayer. And then we want to assign it here. Oops. Oh, there we go. To iGameObject. So there's another place where we're trying, as part of this, we're pulling out all of our variables and we're getting them in one place. And again, so we're slowly getting this thing to be a little more wieldy and prone to be refactored. So we're setting the player there, and we're hardening our business logic, which is always fuzzy. And then we're going to say if the player is null using this coalesce operator. Actually, we're going to do, because we need to cast it. I was looking for a chance to use the coalesce operator and mix something new, but we're not going to be able to. So if the player does not equal null, then let's go ahead and cast that player to an iPlayer object and assign it to our response. Otherwise, let's cast the sender. So we're hardening the business logic, and it's a terrible trap to fall into, and it's how code ends up getting very, very, very complicated and nearly unmanageable. So we're doing it here as part of our first step towards refactoring, because we want to get to a good state where we're bug-free, and we can, at least in a procedural way, think through what works, get it well organized, and then say, how do we improve this? There might be some people out there that can write beautiful code the first time, but my opinions on that are twofold. Firstly, I'm not that person. I need to really grind on things, and it's not till the 5th or 6th or 7th iteration that really looks good. The second opinion is, I feel like so often all we see are people's best efforts, and it undermines this idea that this is a process, that writing good code is a process, and it is. So if all you see are very complicated, compact algorithms and very elegant instructions, very elegant code, and you're starting off, it all seems very intimidating. You're like, how do I ever get from where I am now to a point where I can write great code like that on the first try? When that never happens. Everyone writes bad code the first time. Unless you're, I don't even know, John Carmack? Nah, I bet he writes bad code. I bet John Carmack writes bad code and leaves it that way. Yeah, because he's just that smart. He's like, well, it's complicated, but yeah, I'm a complicated guy. Okay. So, let's see if that fixes our first bug. Start the server. Start this guy. Type in Gary. Alright, I think it looks good. Now we're in the weeds. Let's get out of the weeds. Alright, so it's sent back a response to the client. And bam. So now we've got our health back and our stamina back. So we're dealing with a well-formed Gary once again. And our other bug that we're trying to test, and we weren't just testing this, we were testing this to make sure that we were handling all actions in a somewhat consistent way. Okay. So come into the get game response, type F11. And the player is not null, so I'm not logging in. I'm getting a bunch of stuff. The player name. I'm taking in the arguments, so I'm taking the command, I'm splitting it up. And now those args as just look. See, this is weird, right? Where it says string 1. It's It's weird because it's like this is a index of 0, but this has like an index of 1. It's mind-boggling. Anywho, so the length is 1, so it's not greater than 2, and it's not equal to 2. So we ignore all that stuff. And go into the hive mind.execute. Oh, hang on. Let's try that again. I was way too confident way too quickly. Alright, so we know this works. Let's come to this guy again. Ooh. Sorry, it's going around. It's complaining because I'm trying to assign something that doesn't exist. And that's fair. That is very, very fair. So, let's go ahead and do that one more time, and I promise to slow it down. You're good. You are good. Okay. So, why is it mad? I made it null, and I assumed that by making it null here, that would just go ahead and pass through in my assignment. So, we got a room key that's populated. Look around. Player. Target. So, I think, and this is a guess, this is going to be a learning moment for me as well, but I think that the object initializer that's being used here does not care for this convention. Yeah. Yeah, so, and Turney's got it. Target needs a type. It's like, crunch. Right. So, because we're up here, and I thought this would be enough, right? I just assumed, but I was wrong. Doesn't know. That's my bad. Okay. So, we can write bad code here. And the question becomes, how do I want to write this? Badly? Anything I do is going to complicate things, which is fine. Turney says, can't you just call iGameObjectTarg is equal to new iGameObject? I could. I can. I really can. And let's do that and try it. I was just looking to see. The problem is twofold. It's fixing the bug and also being consistent. I was hoping to. I didn't want to have this convey anything. It's not, but if I can't actually do new game object because I can't instantiate an interface, so, right? I can do something else, but it would be I could do an instantiation to an object here. It wouldn't be iGameObject, and it would fix the